President of the Senate inaugurates a 400 million naira worth annual turnover integrated poultry farm at Gashamu Jakusko local government area of Yobe State. Plus, we will be taking an insight into reasons for homicide in families, which is now on the increase. We have a consultant neuropsychiatrist in the studio to talk to us about that. These and more you get on Panorama today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ruth Aguilera. The President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, has inaugurated a 400 million naira worth annual turnover integrated poultry farm at Gashamu Jakusko local government area in Yobe State. Now, the project is a product of the National Agricultural Land Development Authority, that's NALDA. Adam Yusuf Ali will tell us more.
Estate in Yobe State is one of the 809 agricultural facilities being established by the National Agricultural Land Development Authority under the presidency. The estate in Gasamuja Kusko local government area is sitting on 10 hectares of land designed to engage youth in major agricultural activities in the state. Poultry and eggs production is the major focus of the farm estate at the moment. The farm estate, which houses 10 poultry pens that contain 30,000 birds and an incubation center, is expected to produce about 250,000 noiles annually for sale. The President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, inaugurated the farm estate that is designed to generate about 1 million daily from egg sales.
There will be 3,000 chicks monthly. And this will be sold out to those who will be coming to buy them. And there will be a maximum of 250,000 chicks annually. The Executive Secretary of NALDA, Prince Paul Ikone, says the authority is mandated by President Muhammadu Buhari to make agriculture attractive for the youths and meet the demands of the country's major foods.
This center is like a reproduction center that will be producing our locally improved beds that will be distributed across the country.
This project to us is a fulfillment of the aspiration and promise of His Excellency, the President of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari.
Governor Mai Malabuni represented applauded NELDA for selecting the state for establishment of the poultry farm, with a commitment to keen into initiative to ensure its success and sustainability.
A center that the center, apart from being innovative, employment opportunities, income generation, and surveillance will be derived from it.
The Emir of Bade, Alhaji Abubakar Umar Suleiman, assured of collaborating with stakeholders towards safeguarding the investment for the use of present and future generations. In Damaturu, Adam Yusuf Ali, NTA News.
A recently discovered property in the FCT risk being fortified to the federal government to serve as deterrents to others who allow their premises to be used for drug dealings. Abdulmalik Hassan reports that this followed the uncovering of a hotel in Abuja by the NDLEA, where drugs are sold and young ladies camped for commercial sex. Let's see that.
Link between drug and sexual-based violence is on the rise. This apartment and suites and the FCT is just one out of the many where such illicit acts are carried out. 3 ladies, a male and these substances, including rohypnol and paraphernalia for smoking crack cocaine, were recovered from this private property disguising as a hotel.
There are a lot of miscreants, a lot of crimes that are going on, possibly because of the use, trafficking and peddling of drugs that we found thriving in this place. We had an information about this place for a quite long time, and we mounted a serious surveillance and developed an intelligence product to confirm that there are activities of drugs going on in this environment. Drugs like this are always, related to crimes like sexual violence and gender-based crimes.
A policy has been set by the Anti-Illicit Drug Agency to not only go after drug traffickers, but also their proceeds of crime, and this apartment may just be used to set an example for others. Meanwhile, 5 suspects have been arrested for trafficking substances at the Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, and some parts of Edo and Kaduna states, with at least 3,255.65 kilograms of illicit substances recovered during raids. Abdulmalik Hassan, NTA News.
Still on drug trafficking from Benin, Uduakbong Achibong reports on the roles of community leaders in Edo and Ondo states in working with government to checkmate drug trafficking.
Available records from NDLEA in Edo State indicate that between April and July this year, 99 suspects, both males and females, have been arrested, while 5,497.835 kilograms of various kinds of illicit drugs have been seized and destroyed. Although the agency has been tenacious in its fight against drug trafficking, the needed support is described as pertinent, especially from community leaders, since the menace is stressed to communities.
Most of the farms that we go to, these farms belong to the community. And that is why we urge the traditional rulers, who are the custodians of this land, that before they give this land out, they should vet and verify the type of crop that will be planted in such places.
Having a regular town hall meetings, call the people, come, this is a government policy, this is what the government is looking at. Government is saying no to this, government is saying no to this. Begin to sensitize them. And because they are closer, they know them, it's like eyeball to eyeball, they to be well received.
From Ondo State comes the report that hard drugs, despite being banned substances, have continued to receive patronage. This development has placed a task on community leaders to assist government to end drug trade, especially the cultivation of cannabis sativa.
Drug abuse and drug trafficking threat to national security and national unity.
The role of the traditional institutions should be defined in curbing the menace or the increment or increase in the cultivation of cannabis.
The need for government at all levels to work in a united and coordinated way is also encouraged. In Benin, Uduakbong Achibong, NTA News.
Children, they say, are precious gifts from God to the family. Though some parents and guardians often subject the children entrusted to them into all sort of inhuman treatment that sometimes not only hurt them, but lead to their premature death. This is a semblance of a scenario that recently occurred in Potiskum, Yobe State, where a stepmother, we hear, prepares a poisonous tea that sends 3 of her stepchildren to their early graves. Adam Yusuf Ali will tell us about it.
The tragic incident happened at Ungwal Makara Huta behind Kara Primary School, Potiskum, where a 22-year-old housewife, Khadija Yakubu, was alleged to have poisoned to death 3 out of her 4 stepchildren by serving them killer tea for breakfast. The victims, Ahmed, 12 years, Mariam, 10 years, and 8-year-old Zainab, all of the same father, were rushed to the General Hospital, Potiskum, after taking the tea for medical attention. A sister of the victims, Maimuna Haruna, who noticed differences between the tea served to her and that of her deceased brother and sisters, was inquisitive to know why it was so, but was asked to shut up by the suspect. While narrating his ordeal, father of the children, Alhaji Haruna Potiskum, said his suspected wife, Khadija, called to inform him that his children are convulsing and there is the need to immediately rush them to the hospital. On reaching to the hospital, however, 3 out of 4 children gave up the ghost. He lamented that the poison the suspect used in committing the crime has been found in her room.
Abin a ba su harshe ya fito abin ya ki shiga da ya ce ma ya dan shiga ta dan fara a mai su wannan yara guda 3 din da aka zo suka ce aikin ba su iya ba za su tafi a matafi general hospital amma suka ce amma me nake tunani kan wannan abin waye ce wannan wanda muka zo da ita Khadija ita ta aikata.
Commenting on the issue, the Yobe State Police Command Police Relation Officer ASP Dungus Abdul Karim confirmed the incident, saying that the suspect has been arrested and will remain in custody pending the outcome of their investigations.
Investigation has already commenced, and we have taken a report from the medical facility, and we are still waiting for more of that medical report in order to enable us gather important evidence.
The 3 children have since been buried at Potiskum Cemetery in accordance with Islamic injunctions.
All right, very sad there. Not 1, not 2, but 3 children. Now, questions like why, how, what's the motive behind this and more, keeps coming up. Well, we have a guest just joined us because we've seen similar issues happen around to talk to us about this and to bring answers to those questions. I'm talking about a consultant neuropsychiatrist on family homicide, Dr. Uchendu Ifedilichukwu. Thank you very much, Doctor, for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm sure you listened to that report.
Yeah.
The question of why would such a thing happen? Why would such a person, do that to children? Not even an adult comes to mind.
Yeah, well, a lot of things will actually comes to one's mind why such a heinous crime could be perpetrated by someone who is said to be feminine, most likely to be a mother.
Yes.
And, there are so many things that could go through the mind of someone. The first thing probably could be maybe her upbringing values. We now talk about her mental state.
Yes.
Is there any issue of paranoia or paranoid delusion? And, one could also try to find out what has actually been going through her mind and that she could actually go into such a crime to eliminate her step children or daughters. And, when we talk about mental health challenges in connection with homicides, there are various things one have to look at. One, homicide could occur usually when there are cases of certain mental health challenges. These mental health challenges could be natural or could be actually induced by use of drugs. Okay. And this one just being one out of many.
Exactly.
One out of many that has been happening all over. And cases are much more individualized. Usually when we see this type of cases, we want to find out what the basis. But one thing I think that I need to highlight that, unfortunately, many of the cases that probably comes out and people maybe resulted in this type of crime, most time there should have been some signs.
I was going to ask you about the symptoms to look out for, because this is not the first time we hear of such cases, and we see homicide happen in the family. What should people look out for?
Yeah, there must have been some signs. One, anytime there is a change in behavior of any person, and which has been consistent with time, that should be able to help the family members to start thinking of what to do. Unfortunately, in most cases, when these signs are showing forth, maybe for one reason or the other, they are being ignored.
Yes.
Or they are being, attributed to one thing or the other. So the attention that is required for this type of behavioral changes are not really given at the appropriate time. And in behavioral challenges, usually the more you don't intervene, the worse kind of the prognosis might be. So what are the signs? It depends. Okay, probably we have heard about a situation whereby a wife eliminated the children and killed the husband or something of that nature. One, there are basic symptoms. That particular one, I think I even had one that happened in Benue State. A woman, killed the 3 children and killed herself. Okay, so in such scenario, one, probably there might have been certain symptoms. They are basic symptoms. One of the symptoms that I will encourage the society to start looking out for is symptoms of what we call paranoid delusion.
Can you break that down briefly?
Yeah, paranoid delusion is, we can also call it persecutory delusion or paranoid delusion. When somebody has, delusion is a firm and consistent belief on something that is actually false, that you could not probably change the person's mind by either giving, logical reasons. The person so much firmly believes in such, despite all reasoning in contrary to what she or he believed.
Well, doctor, let me hold your thoughts there.
Okay.
We've seen cases like that, and you talked about the ignorance from family members. Yes. In this part of the world, not everyone is readily, to offer themselves for therapy. Therapy is very key. And for someone who cannot, help themselves, what kind of self-help is required should such a person, speak out?
Yeah, the basic truth is that those actually who have mental health challenges, one of the major problems we normally have is that, unfortunately, they lack what we call insights. They themselves don't see themselves. They don't know. They don't believe they have problems. Yes. Then that is the area the family member should be able to act. But unfortunately, everybody just did it, darling. Nobody probably issue of stigmatization.
Yes.
Is very, very important. And what I try to let our people to get to understand is that let's stop stigmatizing people with mental health disorders. It could happen to anybody. Even the drug abuse or drug use could happen to. I'm happy with what the current Director General of NDLA is doing. Yeah. Prior to now, they are much more talking about, demand reduction. But when he came in, he focused more on supply reduction. And that is why that the fight against drug is gaining ground.
Okay, doctor, what's the way forward? We need to reduce this.
The way forward, one, first of all, as a society, we must go back to our values. We have values before, whereby every child is a child of all the villages. Everybody sees you as a member. We should encourage our religious leaders to teach what our holy books prescribe. Love for one another, sacrifice, denial to ensure that other people benefit from you. That is one. Two, stop stigmatization of mental illness. Mental illness, as far as I'm concerned, is like any other illness. It's like malaria, like anything. These are illnesses that come to us, and we are all believers in God. And we believe things can come to us. It is something that comes to us without us probably not because we have done something bad. Then if that is the case, God allowed this kind of challenge to come. Why should I be ashamed to seek help? That is the second one. Then this fight against drug should be intensified. I believe that is one of the best things that I can say is happening to our society now.
All right.
Because some youths probably who engage in some of these things, because drug influences your mind, and one could even ask, that woman should have been tested of drug.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Uchendu Ifedilichukwu. I know there's a whole lot you want to tell us,
yes,
but family values, like you said, is very key. All right, we've been looking at homicide that is on the rampant in families. Let's go on a break. We'll be back. Stay tuned.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
Welcome back. Let's focus on tourism. This year's World Tourism Day focuses on tourism for inclusive growth. Oyina Akaluoka in this report takes a look at the theme as it affects the development of the sector in the country. Let's see that.
Hidden high up the Mandara Mountains in Adamawa State is UNESCO World Heritage Site, the beautiful Sukuru landscape. Recently, a group of tourists were at the site to explore its features. With the visit, the community came alive and everyone was involved, from entertainers, drivers, tour guides, the villagers and many more. This captures the theme of this year's World Tourism Day, tourism for inclusive growth, ensuring that everyone is carried along.
We're looking at dance and the music and all that are performative in a way that they should speak to the present and the future.
With the restarting of tourism, a sector badly hit by COVID-19, it is an opportunity to look beyond tourism statistics and acknowledge that beyond every number, there is a person.
When a country decides to develop tourism, it gives majority of the people the opportunity to be part of the society.
Nigeria, with vast natural and cultural heritage in boosting tourism, is working towards developing domestic tourism for the benefit of all.
One day, we will not be able to sell oil again because the oil has either finished or the people who were selling the oil to will not use oil anymore, or they will use alternative sources of energy. Tourism will never finish. Tourism will never end. So why not invest in something that you know the growth is inclusive and the potential is explosive? Let's do this.
We are looking at, introducing at the National Commission for Museums and Monuments different concepts and perspectives to our cultural display. One of these is the ecotourism.
The World Tourism Day, observed every 27th of September, is aimed at fostering awareness of tourism's social, cultural, political, and economic contributions towards reaching the Sustainable Development Goals. Oyina Akaluoka, NTA News.
All right, let's bring you an update on COVID-19. 255 new cases of the virus, including 4 deaths, were recorded in the country within the last 24 hours, bringing the country's total caseload to 204,456. Among the new infections, Imo State recorded the highest with 124 cases, followed by Lagos with 72. FCT has 36, Rivers 16, Enugu 6, and just a case in Kano. 192,620 treated cases have been discharged, while the death toll is now 2,677. More from the health scene, stigma and discrimination remain major barriers to the success of global HIV and AIDS intervention. How to mitigate this problem is the reason for the Stigma Index Survey Fact Sheet presented to the public by the network of people living with HIV and AIDS in Nigeria. Let's hear more from Basita Ipang.
It's when they believe, when they see you, you're HIV positive, what they conclude is you are a sinner. They believe that, okay, it's because of your sin, that is why God has decided to punish you.
This is my friend who has been living with HIV for more than 35 years. She is married to a man that is HIV positive, with 4 children who are all HIV negative.
The first ones are twins, because that time HIV was very high. I didn't breastfeed them. The second one I breastfeed, the fourth one I breastfeed, and they are living, all of them, they are HIV negative. The last one, she's 6 years now, and then she have taken breast for good 1 year. I breastfeed her.
She tells me about her experience and how she has been able to deal with stigma and discrimination.
And before I got married, the person that I married was well known in the state. So while me, I was not well known. So if we are going together, you see a woman will come and draw me. Hey, what are you doing with this man? Don't you know he's HIV positive? Do you also want to get HIV? Not knowing that me too, I'm also HIV positive.
In Nigeria, the first and second stigma index survey were carried out in 2011 and 2014. What has the new index survey discovered, and what does it seek to achieve differently?
Also, with the highlight of the findings and how we collectively address those barriers that are limiting people to have access to prevention against HIV, treatment and care and support for HIV and AIDS services in Nigeria.
Why this is significant is because the stigma index survey has highlighted the nature and the degree of the stigma that exists in Nigeria, so that all other stakeholders can start to work collectively to address these issues.
The recommendations of the survey include the need to intensify awareness for the public with focus on HIV-related stigma and discrimination, like verbal abuse, and better support system. It will also serve as a tool for advocacy to different agencies and organs of government in dealing with stigma. Basi Taipa, NTA News.
All right, that's Panorama. Thanks for taking out time to be a part of it. Remember, together we can stand against rape and rapists. I'm Ruth Aguela. Bye.